Okay. So there are two types of research models. And so we at this point we have gone through preliminary research. And just to recap, preliminary research should take no more than 5 minutes. You want to do it with companies as you're landing interviews with them. So prior to that initial interview, sometimes you could even do this research literally 10 minutes before the interview. It's that quick, yet it's informative and it starts to guide our vetting and decision making process in terms of the company and the quality of the workplace and the quality of the product. In this presentation, I'm going to go over what I call extensive research. Extensive research is what you do after you've passed the initial screening interview with the recruiter. So do not do this unless you're actually moving forward into the second stages and beyond with tech companies. And the reason why is this extensive research takes a while. It's much more time consuming. Nonetheless, it is crucial. If you do this right, and this is why I labeled this presentation Unlimited Potential, but if you do this right, the sky is the limit. Seriously, you will find tech companies where the earning potential is higher. It's just unlimited, and it's higher because we're finding the best products and the best work environments. And so that's why I've labeled this Unlimited Potential. And I'm going to get into how you can research this and make sure that you're making the best bet possible for your career. So, why is researching companies crucial for your career? I've said this multiple times throughout this course, but I am not here to lead you astray. I am here to arm you with the knowledge that you need to take control of your career and put yourself where you're most likely to succeed and make the most money possible. That is it. I'm sure I've drilled this enough into your head and you're like, "Come on, Pedro, I get it. Let's get into it." All right? And so by doing our research, we can identify if the company we're interviewing with is a good career option or not. And so in this presentation, I go through a few different methods that'll help you better qualify your job opportunities. And these, in my opinion, these methods that I'm going to teach you in today's video are really the most important. There's so many different things that you could look up about a company, but I think it really just boils down to getting these few things right. And I think if we can get these few things right, everything else falls into place. And so ultimately, these simple and efficient research methods have high return on investment because they'll help you pick the career option that's going to lead to the most money, the most fulfillment, the most career growth, and longevity. And so when we're doing extensive research, here are the top 3 things that we are vetting for. We're looking for tenure. So the more employees that we see working at this company that have 3+ years there, especially sales reps, the better. So in other words, we want to see that employees stick around a long time, because if they do, what does that mean? Well, it means that they're happy. They're getting what they want. People who are not happy leave, especially in the tech industry. There are so many different tech and software companies out there, and there's constantly new ones popping up that are offering something that seems more exciting and innovative. People get recruited and poached by other companies all the time. And so when we see tenure at tech companies, it is a huge green light. It means that the career mobility is there, meaning you get promotions. It means the pay is there. It means the deals are there. So people are selling well. Overall, it says great things. So if we see tenure, that's huge. And this is easily verifiable using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Same with promotion rates. I personally do not want to just see that people stick around for a long time. I also want to see that they get promoted, especially sales reps. If the company has a culture of promoting internally, this means that our career is going to take off here. And I've worked for tech companies where they don't promote internally. And what they'll do is anytime they need someone with more expertise, they don't train and develop their internal employees. They end up just hiring outside. And while that can be good, if that happens all the time, that's bad. That means we are never going to get promoted. We're not ever going to get the opportunity to step up and grow our careers. And so we also want to see promotions. And so we can, again, verify that very easily using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. We also want to see that they're market leaders. And again, we're going to go back to g2.com to verify this. Working for a market leader, honestly, that's what it's all about. Top 3 is good. If we can find someone that's top 3 in their industry, top 2 is better. I've worked for a top 2 company. We got tons of business because we were constantly competing with number 1. But top 1 is the best. Although it's not necessary. You don't always need to work for the best to have the best career. I find that being towards the top of the food chain is good enough. And so I want us to be at top 3 companies or better. Lastly, I also like to look at quota attainment. So using websites like RepVue, we can get a better understanding of what quota attainment is generally like. And again, we live in the internet. People can lie on the internet. There's no universal truth checking, fact checking organization just policing the internet. And so these numbers may not be 100% accurate, yet if we're able to see that a company has high tenure and high promotion rates, and we also see that quota attainment is high, that's huge. That's a lot of clues telling us, hey, this company is a safe bet. And if we join this organization, we're likely to have a great career. And so these are all interlinked. People, especially sales reps, do not stick around if the quota attainment is low or if the product is weak. Nobody does. Nobody likes working for a losing organization where no one's ever selling, because if money is not being made at tech companies, they have to cut people or lay people off. And so we conclude with some degree of confidence that if employees stick around, the work environment is likely great. People stay loyal to companies that treat them right, both in terms of pay and also growth. So that's what we're looking for when it comes to our extensive research. How it looks in practice, again, since this is a lot more time consuming, I want you to do extensive research only once you've successfully passed the first round and are moving into the second. And I also want you to do as much extensive research as you want. However, don't sacrifice the number of applications and outreach that you're doing to SDR managers. You want to keep your application pipeline and interviewing pipeline full at all times, even as you're progressing in other rounds. And so this is where your time management skills are really going to come into play. Lastly, before I get into the demo and on how to conduct this extensive research, look, make an informed decision. That's what it's all about here. To make the best decision for your career, you have to take control of the job search and not settle for less than what you deserve. This might seem straightforward, but you would be surprised by how many people will simply take any job simply because it pays. Oh, I get a paycheck, I'm going to take this. And so they come from a place of scarcity and desperation and thirst, as opposed to truly, vetting out the career opportunities and going somewhere where they're going to thrive and make buttloads of money. That's what I want for you. And so by researching product dominance, tenure, promotion rates, and quota attainment, we can make the confident conclusion that we're going to go somewhere good. Success in tech sales, success in general, is all about putting yourself in an optimal situation. And I want you to think of this analogy. Great fishermen go where the fish are. Same in your career. You simply have to go to where the most opportunities are. That is it. And so, by knowing how to identify good opportunities, you decrease your chances of making career mistakes. Maximize your earning potential by playing smart. That's all there is to it. So, let me show you how to do extensive research. So, we start off by going to LinkedIn.com. Obviously, from LinkedIn.com, we go to Sales Navigator. And from there, I've already got this open. I just go to Procore's page. This is the same company that we did in our preliminary research. I'm going to stick to the same companies. And what you do from here is you click all employees. And what I want to do is go to see all filters. I personally am based out of the United States, and so I like to hit geography and click United States because I want to filter to see overall what the US culture is like. There's tech companies that are global, so I personally don't care what their European operations are like. I'm not based out of Europe. I want to know what their team is like here in the US, as this is who I'm going to be likely interacting with the most. From there, I go to function. And I specifically want to see the sales team, although I will also do research to see what their other teams are like. Because if I see that their product team and their marketing team, etc., their engineering, if all those people stick around for a really long time, then that is huge. In other words, I love to see that everyone sticks around for a long time, not just salespeople. And generally, what I want to see, what you're looking for here when you're doing this research, is you're just scrolling to see how long people stay at the company. And you're also wanting to see promotions. So, right off the bat, I'm already seeing a lot of people that stick around for numerous years. This Michael guy sticks around for 4 years. Alex Shepley sticks around for 4 years. And then let's see if we can find some more. Roger Forte, 5 years. I mean, these are all great signs. If what we're looking for here is we want to see lots of these, and I'm just scrolling down here and I see numerous folks that have stayed along for 3 years, for 7 years, and so this is huge. I love this. This is a great sign. And so let's go ahead and look into these profiles that we just clicked in. What I want to see when I look at these companies, or sorry, these employees that have been there for a long time, is we want to see that they also get promoted. And so looking at Michael's LinkedIn profile, we do see promotions. So he is the director of strategic sales today, but prior he was the director of enterprise sales. And so this is a promotion, it looks like. Let's go ahead and click into Alex Shepley's. Look at this. He started off as an account executive. Then he moved into an enterprise account executive role. That's a promotion. And then now he's a strategic account executive. So in the last 4 years, he has been promoted 3 times. That's a promotion almost every year. That's great. I love to see that. And going and seeing Rogers, another profile we clicked on. Again, same thing. He has been here for 5 years. And we see that he has been promoted 1, 2, 3, 4 times. He started off as a sales rep, account executive. Then he got moved up into another executive role, account executive role, where he was selling bigger deals. Then he got promoted to sales manager, and now he's a sales director. That's great. And so I think you get the gist of this. You can do tons of this research. And I personally will spend a lot of time, especially as I go deeper and deeper with a tech company. I will come in and look at their employees and their sales reps. And just overall, I'll try to click in, and not obviously for this company, there's tons of employees. So you don't need to look at much. But I mean, you don't need to look at all of them, but you can get a general gist by clicking into a few profiles and seeing, okay, they stick around for a long time and they get promoted. And so you know that if you join Procore, you're likely going to get you're likely going to get to experience this too. And so I recommend that in these examples, you continue to scour through the LinkedIn pages. There's almost no limit to extensive research. Ultimately, I want you to do as much as you feel is right for you. And so if you feel like you get enough of the gist by looking at 3 profiles, hey, more power to you. But I personally like to click into, somewhere in between 20 to 30 profiles across a variety of different teams to validate that, hey, people stick around a long time and they get promoted. And so in this case, it was easy to verify, but the more profiles you can look at, then the more data points that you have. I highly recommend looking at more profiles. Now let's go into G2 because we want to know that they are either that they're market leaders, right? And so the best way to verify that is on g2.com. And so we've already verified in our preliminary research that they meet the requirements. So they do have 4-star rating or above. They obviously have almost 2,000 reviews, but we want to look at how they compare to their competition. We want to know that they are market leaders. Every company on G2 has this where it allows you to see how they compare to their competition. So you go scroll down to until you see the product comparisons, and then you click on that. So compare Procore ratings to similar products. And then what this will tell you what you want to do from here is you want to go to their the G2 grid. So there's a grid and you click on that. And this grid, what it will do is it will pull up all the competition in this sector, in this niche. So Procore is in the construction management software niche. They basically provide software to construction companies. And so these are other construction technology companies. Procore is clearly the market leader. Look at this. That's huge. And so in this example, let's assume that you're not interviewing with Procore, but let's assume that you're interviewing with another company in the space like Sage. So if you were interviewing with Sage and you came here and did your research on g2.com and you noticed that Sage has only 10 reviews and they're not a market leader, meaning they're like really far behind most of the competition, that would be a red flag. And in which case I would still interview with Sage, but I wouldn't take the opportunity seriously. I would use it more as a practice run to sharpen up my interviewing skills. And then what I might do in that case is if I see that a company like Procore is the market leader, well, then I'd go see if Procore is hiring and apply for their SDR roles or whatever roles intrigue me that they're hiring for. But let's also assume that let's do another exercise here. Let's say that you are interviewing with a company like Autodesk Construction Cloud. Well, Autodesk Construction Cloud is not the leader, but they're number 2. They're one of the leaders here. And so that's also a green light where you know what, maybe they're not the head honcho, they're not the market leader, but they're number 2. That's still a really great place to be. And so I want you to keep that in mind as you're doing your research on these companies, that you want to find someone that maybe isn't in last place, but they're certainly one of the leaders, because if they're one of the leaders, you're going to get tons of business, and again, you're going to succeed. So in this case, Procore passes the test. Now, all we want to do from here, and I'm not going to go through all this, but we can go back to their Glassdoor. And if we go back to their Glassdoor, we can go into their reviews and start to read their reviews in a little bit more detail. Now, in the preliminary research, all we care about is that they have a 4.0 rating or above. But I also want to know, in better detail what they're saying, what employees are saying. And so you want to scroll through these and start to get a gist of what the work environment is like. I don't recommend getting too obsessed with the Glassdoor reviews, because Glassdoor reviews can be very polarizing, meaning they're extreme. They're either really positive or really negative. Again, you want to collect as many data points as possible and start to form your own hypothesis about the company and determining if it's a healthy option for you or not. And so that's what you're doing through Glassdoor. One thing about Glassdoor is that it also allows you to filter the reviews. And so for me, going into tech sales, one of the things I want to look for is the sales reviews. And so looking at the sales reviews, and then I also want to look at the location. So I particularly only care about the sales teams here in the United States. And so I added those filters, and look, the reviews are still incredible. A 4.4 star rating for across the sales reviews. So that's pretty cool. That's really great to see. So if I was interviewing with Procore, doing this research and seeing that, hey, Glassdoor looks great. Even after I did the in-depth research, it looks great. You know, people are getting promoted. People stick around for a really long time, and their product kicks ass. Man, that is great. The only other thing that I would do here is I would go to RepVue.com, and then I would search for Procore, just to see in general what quota attainment is like, and how much the sales reps are actually pulling in. And so all I'm looking at here is overall they have an 88 score, and so they're top 5% of the companies. And I am seeing that 60% of their team members typically hit quota. That's pretty good. That's good by my standard, right? That's excellent as well. It exceeds the industry standard. By the way, what RepVue is basically telling you a little bit more information regarding quota attainment and earning potential on the sales side. And so the way that RepVue gathers this information is by basically by having employees leave reviews. That's pretty much it. And so a lot of salespeople in the technology industry and the software industry use RepVue to inform their decision about the health of the sales organization. And so all I want you to do here is kind of start to click around to see what kind of information you can find. And so, yeah, looking at them on RepVue, they tend to have some really good stuff here. And you can even look at pay. So let's go to view all salaries. And for a lot of you listening to this video, you're going to be going for SDR roles, so sales development representative roles. So we can click on that. And then based on this information, we can see that on average, the pay for the pay working at Procore is going to be somewhere in the $60,000 range, base salary. But on average, people make $90,000 per year as an SDR, an entry level role, and top performers can make $145,000. So overachievements, anytime you overachieve, you essentially get paid double on commissions. And so it looks like top SDRs entry level role here makes almost $150,000. That's incredible. And 70% are attaining quota, almost 80%. That is huge. And so just take the time to read through this to get an understanding of what their folks are getting paid, how much money people are making. When it comes to using RepVue, really it's kind of like the last data point that you get. At this point, I'm already happy. I already saw that they're market leaders. I already saw that people stick around for a long time. They get promoted. Those are all massive green flags. And so RepVue is just icing on the cake to see how much people are getting paid. And so people seem to be getting paid well. So they passed my sniff test. If I was hypothetically interviewing with Procore and I got an offer, I mean, chances are I would 100% accept that offer. So good stuff here. Now let's do the same for user testing. I think you get it, right? So user testing. So looking at the reviews on G2, again, we already know that they are one of they were a leader in 2023. They passed the 4.0 star rating. Let's go and see how they compare to their competition. So we go and scroll down, user testing comparisons, compare user testing to similar products. And then we're looking for the grid. So the G2 grid right here. And let's view the whole grid to see where user testing stands. And so in this case, user testing, it doesn't appear to be the leader. However, they seem to be somewhere in the top 3. And so that's a green flag. It's not the best, but they're pretty good. And so that's exciting to see. Hypothetically, if you're interviewing with user testing and you're really intrigued by the user research software space, you could also look into companies like Glassbox and user interviews to see if they're hiring. Now, what happens if you are interviewing with companies like user testing and then you realize that they're not a market leader like Yohi, right? You can still interview with Yohi, but maybe use it as a practice run. Same thing I mentioned in the research with Procore. Anytime that you are interviewing here with companies in a crowded space like this one, you want to be with the market leaders. That's where the most money is. That's where the earning potential is. That's where the promotions are. And so in this case, user testing happens to just barely pass the test here. But ideally, you're interviewing with companies like Glassbox or user interviews. Now, let's see what their employees are like. So again, we're going to Glassdoor. I want to see that employees stick around for a long time and that they also get promoted. So we click on all employees. And when we click on see all reviews here at the bottom left, geography, I only care to see the employees in the United States. Again, when you are looking up companies, a lot of tech companies, especially the more successful ones, they tend to have offices in other parts of the world. And those offices tend to have completely different work environments and cultures. So even though they're part of the same company, the work environment might be drastically different. And so I want you to research companies based on your own geography. So if you're from the United States, look at the employees in the United States. Or if you're in the UK, look up employees in the UK. And then what we are looking for, again, I'm personally looking for folks in the sales organization at this time, right? Down to see, oops, looks like it froze. Okay, here we go. I just want to see a lot of employees that stick around for a long time and get promoted. So Chaz Mon looks like he's been there for 3 years. Scott, he hasn't been there for 3 years, but 2 years, that's pretty good. Lee. Okay, it looks like she's not actually a part of user testing. She's part of RepVue Collective. Nicole, Katie. Okay, let's see, Katie. Let's see if we can put in account executive. So there's a filter that says current job title. You can type in a job title in there and it helps you filter out these results a little bit better. So you put it in quotations and then you put in account executive or whatever title you're looking for. And let's see how long these folks stick around. So I'm seeing a lot of people already with tons of years of experience here. So Paige, Evan, Tyler, 4 years, Zoe, and James. And let's click on Jasmine as well. And again, what we're looking for here is tenure and also promotions. And so clicking through these profiles real quick, Chasmon was a SDR there for a year, and now he's a manager of sales development. That's cool. That's really cool to see. So it seems like he's been there for 3.5 years. He's been promoted once. That's good, though. It's good to see SDRs being promoted. So it looks like he stepped into the manager into a leadership role. So anytime I see SDRs getting promoted, I love that. Obviously, you should love that too, because a lot of you listening to this are going to be coming in as SDRs, and we want to see the SDRs get promoted. So Chasmon passes the test. Great stuff. Let's see what Scott's profile looks like. Regional vice president. He's been there for 2 years. Doesn't look like a promotion. Let's see if we can find some folks that have been promoted. Katie Harkins, VP of Sales. Not really saying that she was promoted. She's only been there for a year. Look into the account executive roles. So the account executives, as you know, are the closers. So you pass on the meetings to them as the SDR, and they take care of the rest. This is the path that a lot of people move into after the SDR role. A lot of folks get promoted into the AE role. So Paige has been there for 5 years, almost 6 years. That's incredible. And she has been promoted 3 times. She started off as a customer success manager, then a senior customer success manager, and then she moved into a sales role. So that's pretty good to see. That's great. Evan Bennett, scroll down. Evan has been there for 4.5 years. He's been promoted 3 times. He started off as an SDR, and then he moved into a closing role, and then he got promoted again into a mid-market role. And he's also been a sales club qualifier. Looks like has been multiple times. He was awarded Rookie of the Year, attained over 100% of quota. So when I see profiles like this, and if I can spot a lot of sales profiles like this at user testing, what that tells me is that people are really overachieving and hitting their sales quota and hitting their sales target. And anytime someone's hitting their sales target and hitting their quota, it usually means that they're making really good money. And so that is great to see. He's also gotten rewarded and promoted for it. So that's a green light. Let's continue clicking. Tyler hasn't been promoted, but he's already at a pretty high level as a key account executive. He's been there for 4.5 years. And 2022 North American Rep of the Year. Again, if we continue to see awards like this and see that people are achieving, that's great. And let's just click on one more. I think you get the point. Zoe Jordan, mid-market account executive. She has been there for almost 4 years, and she's been promoted 3 times. She started off as a small business account executive. Then she got promoted to the lead small business account executive, and she even won the Global Account Executive of the Year. Again, we keep on seeing these awards, and what that tells me is that people are sticking around a long time and they are winning. Again, we want to join winning organizations because that's where we're going to maximize our earning potential. That's where we're going to be happiest. That's where we're going to get rewarded for our efforts. This is key. So user testing passes the sniff test. We see that folks are tenured. We see that they are top 3 market leader, maybe not, the best, but they're close enough. And so that's great. So now all we want to look for are, we want to see that those Glassdoor reviews are strong. So, remember, the user testing did not have the best reviews, only 50% recommended to a friend. But let's dig into it a little bit more and see what people are saying. So I want to add those filters. Let's see, is it loading? Okay. Let's go to sales. And then let's go to United States. I don't care about the work culture for the other organizations. So sales in the United States. So these are the sales reviews they found. There's 20 reviews out of the 450 reviews, and they have a 3.3 star rating. So, this gives me a little bit of mixed feelings. On one hand, it's great to see that folks are tenured and the folks are getting promotions and that folks are winning awards. That's great. But on the other hand, knowing that they are not the market leader and knowing that they only have a 3.3 star rating, that starts to raise some doubts for me. And so if I was hypothetically chatting with user testing and I got all the way to the final stages, I'd really have to be blown away by the team and by the pay. And if everyone that I chatted with and interviewed with was really sweet, I really got along with all of them, they all had great things to say, and they also put a good offer in front of me, then I might take the risk here and go with user testing because there's no there's yellow flags here, but there's no red flags here. And so, at least not based on the research that I've done so far. Again, if for the sake of this video, I'm not going to go through all the reviews, but for yourself, you want to definitely be going through this and reading more of the reviews and again making an educated decision. I'm showing you how to do that, and so the last step here is RepVue. So we put in Procore. Now let's put in user testing. And let's see what people have to say. So they have a 82 score, not bad. However, it looks like only 44% of the team members are hitting their quota. Um, I don't like seeing that. That's below the software industry average, which currently is 47%, and that's lower than the global average. So, I start to get a little bit concerned here, but let's see what their SDRs are making. So not bad. Median base salary is 50,000. On target earnings is 75,000, and then top performers hit about 120,000. And then about 60% of folks hit quota in the SDR role. So overall, again, if I hypothetically was interviewing with a company like user testing and I saw that I saw the poor Glassdoor reviews, and then I saw that their pay that only about 40% of folks are hitting quota, it would raise some doubts. And so I might challenge them throughout the interview process or ask questions about quota attainment throughout the interview process. I'd really have to hear from the folks on the team that that they're really happy, and I'd really have to be sold on the opportunity. Whereas with Procore, we found that they have a lot more positive reviews, that we found a lot better clues on the internet, and so I feel a lot better with Procore. And so if I was hypothetically interviewing with user testing Procore, I would take the Procore opportunity. But ultimately, we for the sake of this video, I skipped a lot of the in-depth research that I would do, but I showed you what I would look for. So again, during extensive research, you want to look at that, the product reviews on G2 in more detail, the Glassdoor reviews on in more detail. You want to look at the LinkedIn profiles in more detail. Truly take your time and make an informed decision. That is how you maximize your earning potential and maximize your career potential. I hope this helps. Please, please, please make an informed decision. We're here to make money and make the absolute best career decisions. Cheers.